RoboVoices. Today, I am here with a high school student, Min. Hi, Min. How are you?
Hi.
It is wonderful to have you post spring break. How was your spring break?
It was a lot of sleep. The most I ever did was probably get out of bed.
Well, that is great. I am so excited to start back up with RoboVoices with you here. But before we do that, I just have a few questions to ask you. So are you ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Favorite color?
That's like a really hard question for me because I love all the colors. But right now it's currently like an orangish yellow.
Very nice. How about favorite breakfast food?
That is also very hard because my mom loves cooking and I love eating her food as her feedback, obviously. And so probably my favorite breakfast would be tau ho, which is just like tofu and like ginger syrup.
Oh my gosh.
And it's so good, especially on winter. Like it's the perfect warm breakfast.
That sounds amazing. How about favorite school subject?
Currently, it is science, anything science related. I'm currently taking chem and I really like it, even though my grade is not an A, but I still love it.
I love that you love it. I actually minored in chemistry. And what is your favorite music genre?
So many to decide from. Currently listening to rock, but like my favorite genre literally changes with the seasons. Like it just depends on the mood of the season, honestly. Like spring is more like indie music or like rock music. Like summer is like really goes into rock and pop music.
Nice.
Fall is just like more indie music and then a little bit of rap, but like I don't really listen too much.
I love it.
And then winter is more like instrumental music, like classical music or just like, I don't know, jazz, you know?
I love that the seasons really impact the music you listen to. That's very cool.
Love, like listening to music to like my scenery.
Interesting. Well, then when the weather changes, that definitely changes the scenery. So that makes complete sense.
Because the weather dictates my mood a lot of the times.
Very nice. And of course, the final question I ask everybody, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
So as I said earlier, I like science. And so I'm going into the med track. Granted, I don't know where I'm going, as most people.
Sure.
But I'm currently really interested in neuroscience and cardiology. And so I'm really interested in becoming a surgeon because I'm part of Med Club and I got to see the open heart surgery.
Oh my gosh.
I was there last year. I was there this year. And I absolutely found it so fascinating. And I just got hooked after freshman year. And so I felt like surgery was something I wanted to do. But also, like chemistry involves a lot of research in labs. And I just got so excited about every lab. And so I also was thinking about research, but I don't know.
Hey, it is still early. The fact that you are so passionate about science, that's what's going to take you to wherever you want to go. But I love hearing this idea of going into that particular area of science and medicine. That's awesome. Good for you. Oh my gosh. Well, I will tell you, we could spend a whole podcast just talking about that.
I'm quite the talker.
It's okay. But what we're really here to talk about is the topic that you had selected. You wanted to highlight the idea of volunteering and how that is a worthwhile experience. And I think, again, if we think about our audience, who's listening to us right now, it's students and families in the Robinson community. What would you want to tell them about your experiences with volunteering and why you want to talk about it?
So I've done volunteering ever since probably like I could touch my feet onto the ground and like hold stuff because I always like cared about the environment. I loved like cleaning up my parks. Like every time we go to a park, I see a piece of trash and I would point out my mom like, no one should be like littering there. So I picked it up and threw it away. And so I joined Scouts. There was a lot of volunteering. There's like bronze awards, silver awards. Those cost like 50 hours each minimum. And I've accumulated a lot of hours this year. Last year was kind of hectic though, because last year there wasn't many opportunities after COVID. And so I was kind of like all over the place. And then I was like kind of like, I don't know, service hour starved is how you describe it. And this year I've gone so many. And by the end of this year, I think I might hit like 50 hours.
That is fantastic. So what motivates you to volunteer?
I think the people. I love talking to people. I'm an extrovert. I love meeting people in my community. I love seeing like what kind of people are out there. It's very interesting to see what kind of people are like, how should I say this? It's their personality, the way they talk, the way they speak to you. I just find it all interesting. I love honestly, my hobby is finding like interesting people to talk to. Like all my friends, I've reached out first.
Right.
Like I've talked to them first. Like I remember in freshman year, I was transferred to a new school with no one I know besides my brother. And then I would go up to people in lunch and talk to them as a way to like interact with people. And I also think the experience is also very like helpful because my mom is a pharmacist and she's a floater pharmacist for Giant. And so she like does clinics, she goes to different stores. And so when she used to do clinics last year, I was able to help out, give out like the COVID vaccine. Granted, I did not give the COVID vaccine. I'm not eligible for it.
Sure.
I just gave out water, make sure their information was correct with their phone number, address, whatnot. And I felt like it was like a fun experience. I did one in Eden Center, and it's like the home to all like Viet people.
Yes.
And so I met with a lot of people who speak Viet. And granted, my Viet is not great, but like I tried my best with my broken Viet.
That's okay. So really it's twofold. Number one, you enjoy meeting people. You enjoy getting to know your community members, no matter where they are, just understanding who they are and where they come from. It sounds like you love just the diversity that exists out there with our community members. But number two, you're talking about the actual experience. You started off by talking about when you saw trash, you're like, that shouldn't be there, right? So it's really about giving back to the community. So that kind of really fills your bucket in who you are and makes you feel better. And really, in the end, that's one of the things we want all of our students to really gain. You know, yes, we want you to take care of yourself, right? But being a good citizen requires you to think of others and your environment, especially the environment, you know, when you think about it, because, you know, the thing about our planet is we won't see the effects of some of the detrimental things that are happening for a long time. But we know because of science and data that things we do today will have an impact. So it's important for us to contribute as best we can, right? And but that's just one area of volunteering that you had described.
Yeah, I was thinking like over this summer, I'd be doing like puts an article out there because I write a little bit.
Oh,
and
great.
So I was thinking doing like a research article, my own little research project. I didn't do MYP because I just didn't have enough time. And I also procrastinate a lot. So not one of the best RAM values, but
That's okay.
I'll work on it in the summer.
Oh my gosh. Well, the first part, really thinking about others, you know, it is important. But when you don't have enough time, we get that. And you clearly have a full plate, right? You're doing a lot. So it's not like you're spending all day watching Netflix or spending all day just playing video games, right? There's clearly a balance. And that's the one thing I want students who are listening to understand. You know, when we talk about volunteering, you mentioned X2 Vol. That is where you kind of clock your hours of service. Because in the end, a lot of organizations and a lot of students require, or not students, but a lot of organizations require those service hours in order for you to stay in clubs. Like a lot of our honor societies do that and so forth. But really, it's not about just checking that box. For you, it truly does make you feel better when you do volunteering.
It not only just makes me feel better, I just like meeting new people. Like Key Club, I created that club with some of my friends because I felt like there was like no one offering enough hours to people who need it. And then my brother, he was like left like searching everywhere for hours and he couldn't really find it besides from his teachers. And that didn't really offer enough for the students. And that's why we created Key Club, where I saw it on TikTok that like you should like join Key Club. It's a great community. And not only that, like my cousin also like came over for the weekend one day and talked about her clubs and her activities. And she lives in California where they're super involved.
Oh, wow.
And so they're so into Key Club where they, at some point in the year, at the end of the year, like they go all to Six Flags and they all hold like community around the area, like kind of like celebrations for like all the hard work they've done, and it's kind of like give them a break after working so hard.
Right. So there's so many benefits of coming together. You talk about, coming together as a community, spending time with each other, getting to know different people, which is awesome. But in the end, what that does is it also builds your empathy and understanding of working with different people, being with different people. So I think that that's important. Key Club is one of those organizations that I've heard of that exists in lots of different schools, at different levels, at the collegiate level as well, where they really are about service. It's about serving others and really helping out everybody. So I love that you essentially helped rejuvenate that here at Robinson, which is wonderful because a lot of students do love the idea of volunteering and offering up their time, especially for organizations where there aren't enough people to help and take care of some of the things that need to happen out there. So I think that's fantastic. Yeah. So if you were to talk specifically to students out there who are listening right now and they are saying, oh gosh, I need the service hours in order to stay in my honor society, or I need the service hours in order to do this, what would you say to them?
Join Key Club. I would say, because the thing is, Key Club, the first day, 40 people came, all from my same grade, and we wanted to reach further from that.
Yes.
But like, as soon as meetings started coming more monthly, like the amount of attendance decreased because people either didn't have time, didn't pay attention to our notices that we post literally everywhere.
Sure.
And we just need more people to come, more people to help out. Because last month we did dog toys for, I forgot, Homeward Trails. That's the organization. And we just like had a lot of old clothing. A lot of people donated old clothing, but didn't come to the meeting to make the toys.
Oh, no.
And so we just had a huge stack. So in the end, all leftovers went to just like a thrift store or like just an organization where they can take them. Because it's really important to engage with your Key Club members.
Sure.
Because that's what builds the community, because a lot of people prefer to do individual work. Because either they can't make friends or like they just prefer to do things as an individual. And I think that like, sure, that's great that you can do some service work on your own. But I also think it's great to meet people with like, you don't know. Because honestly, how I built my personality as like who loves meeting new people is because I was thrown in middle school. I transferred here in middle school with only knowing my brother. And he was with his own friends because he was in high school and I was in middle school.
Still.
So it was hard to like talk with my brother when we don't have the same lunch or like no classes.
Right.
And so I just went out there.
And put yourself out there. You really did, which is wonderful. And look at how far you've come and what you've been able to accomplish, which is wonderful. I think there's power in coming together as a group. One of our, the portrait of a graduate attributes is being a global citizen, right? And that's about looking beyond just what do I need? You want to take care of the needs of your community as well. And that's what community service does with all the different organizations that you've worked with, whether you're collecting dog toys or you're donating to a food bank or things like that. There are always organizations and people in need out there. And if we have the opportunity to provide our time and to provide any financial, supports, I think that's fantastic for us to do. And I highly encourage students to kind of put themselves out there, which seems to be a theme for a lot of my podcasts.
Yeah, like
I
honestly,
love it.
A lot of people don't really try to put them out there. Like a lot of my friends are comfortable where they are.
Yes.
I'm just like the extrovert. I'm the magnet that connects all the introverts together.
Absolutely.
Sometimes.
No, and there's power in being an extrovert, speaking from being an extrovert myself, but introverts have so much to offer as well. But there's a different comfort level that exists for extroverts, introverts, but we can all have that ability to volunteer, to help out, to really contribute back to our society and our community. And that's really what you're talking about. I mean, clearly you are passionate about this topic, and I absolutely love it. And so I'm going to use the end of our time in the podcast to use this as a plug to say, hey, here's Min. She completed our the application to come on and do this podcast. And your voice is powerful and means something. So I encourage the other Robinson Rams who are listening out there to put themselves out there. You know, this is very low risk. I hope you feel safe in this podcast room with me, sharing your thoughts. Well, that's wonderful. And I appreciate that. So all of you Rams who are listening out there, if you have something that you want to talk about with me that might help other Rams out there, fill out that form and let's get together and chat for a little bit.
Also, you can do it with your friends.
Absolutely, Min. That was a great suggestion. I absolutely encourage students, if there's a topic they want to talk about together, let's do that.
I think that will help introverts more, because a lot of people might be scared to do it alone.
Very much so.
So doing it
yes.
with people, especially with another extrovert to make you do it, will be a fun experience. It's gonna build you up to be more confident in yourself, because confidence is so important. Literally, confidence is put into almost everything I do.
Right.
I kind of a little bold, kind of a risk taker. So I do a bit controversial things.
Hey, that's okay. Not everything's easy to talk about out there. Min, this has been a pleasure. It has been so wonderful to chat with you. I feel like the time just flew by. So I just appreciate this time with you. So any final thoughts?
Join Key Club and Amnesty International. Both organizations do community service. Next year, Amnesty will do a lot of more drives, and we can contribute a lot towards I don't know, Ukraine or Iraq, or just a lot of drives to help them out. Cause Ukraine is still in a war, sadly.
Absolutely.
And so we can provide food towards them. And join Key Club, because we have a good community, around 30 people who are actually participating.
That is awesome. That is fantastic. Thank you so much, Min. This was a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. I had so much fun talking.
Yay. Wonderful. All right, Robinson community. We hope everyone has a fantastic day.